what's up, y'all? Figured we're in a car today, so we spent a lot of time in the car. So Rachel figured, she said, I want to be on that motherfucking screen, baby. That's the way she came to me, just like that. She said, I want to be on that screen. I'm looking for a sugar daddy. So I said, well, that makes two of us. We figure, listen, a lot of times people will ask us how we met is a continuous question. So we spent a lot of time in the car driving. So what better time than now? I think we're going to turn into maybe like a little series called Ride Along, where maybe we'll tell some of our stories while we're sitting in this car, because we do spend a lot of time traveling back and forth to Philly. You know, that's a 3 hour. Every time you see us in Philly, that's 3 hours one way. 6 hours, 7 hours altogether. So might as well put this time to good use, and keep her up, because she falls asleep on me as soon as we get in the car.
My only time to take a nap.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Oh, that's true.
Anyway, anybody just clicking in, I'm Frank, this is Rachel. The channel's called Morals Over Money. The channel hopes to humanize addicts, people suffering from mental illness, homelessness. Both of us are recovering addicts. And we're just trying to, you know, make a little bit of change in this world. Hit that subscribe button if you like what you see. Leave a comment down below. Hit the like button. It helps the channel very much. And besides, we're doing a $500 giveaway at 50,000 subscribers. So here we go. We met in 2004. Initially, that was when we initially met. The first time that I met her, I remember, I don't know if she remembers this, but her boyfriend at the time, her boyfriend, which she has kids to, at the time, I used to sell him dope at the time. So we went up, you know, went to their house, you know, did a transaction, and I remember seeing her. And listen, when I seen you, I thought you were beautiful. I was like, all right, you know, she was beautiful, and dude was kind of an asshole. So yeah, that was the first time we met, and then over the course of like the next 6 months, we would meet also, because there was times that, you know, that I sold Rachel drugs at the time.
Plus, I was also friends with his sister.
Yes.
So through that time of me using, I was friends with her, and.
But let's make it clear that when she seen me in the apartment that day, she went and befriended my sister so she could get close to me.
That's not true.
That's what happened for everybody. Just to keep it 100%.
Shane,
we're gonna
vouch for me. No.
We're gonna keep it real on here, okay? She went and seen me, and she told me later on that she got starstruck.
Oh, that's
not starstruck, love-struck. She got love-struck. No, that's what I know.
So
she got love-struck.
Anyhow.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was friends with his sister, but unfortunately, like, we were both using too at the time.
Yes.
So she was kind of like, you know, somebody that when we used together, it was like, if you can't figure out a way to get high, you know, I'm gonna figure out a way to get high. And honestly, I hate to say it, but that's kind of how like our friendship started.
Yeah, they were getting high buddies.
Yeah. So
sometimes, like she said, my sister, I don't know how the fuck she found out, or she had a spare key to my safe or the combination. I don't remember exactly what it was. I don't know how, but to this day, I'm gonna ask her. She might not remember that.
I think she knew where I think she had a spare key.
Yeah, well, she did have a spare key, because I would keep the only keys on me, because I would notice. I didn't really know, like when she would take money, I used to keep my money in stacks of $1,000. So I had 10 stacks and then a rubber band. So I knew there was $10,000 in that band. And I'd take it to go buy something. I'd go buy a motorcycle or some jewelry or something, and there'd be like $1,200 missing. But there was 10 stacks there, so what she would do is take a couple 20s out of each stack, and that's how I found out. And I was like, damn, it happened once. I was like, all right, maybe I miscounted, but then it kept on happening, and I was like, all right, I know I'm not miscounting that much, so. And then also one time my sister had gone missing for like 3 or 4 days, and so I put the word out and was like, yo, if anybody sees my sister, let me know. So then I got a call from another young guy that was hustling, and he's like, yo, I was just in a house that your sister was in, and I left the back door open. So if you come right now, the back door is going to be open. So I go in the house, I find her in there with 2 of her girlfriends. They're getting high, and I took her purse and took my sister, and I found my stamps of dope in her purse. So and I knew I was the only one around there that had that stamp of dope. Stamp of dope, it's the stamp they put on the bag that is, that's your product. So when I seen that, it confirmed everything that I already knew as far as her stealing, drugs and whatever else from me. Yeah, and that's a whole different story, how I felt about seeing that stamp in there, knowing I was contributing to my sister's downfall. But so me and Rachel, after a couple months of seeing each other, I'd see her with my sister. I'd see her when I would go and do whatever I was doing, and then we became friends. You know what I mean? I was in a relationship. She was in a relationship with her kid's father. But then we were on the side talking. So it just sort of stood like that. But I always, from very early on, I always liked her, because anytime that, like, there are times I'd pick her up and we'd go somewhere and I'd, just be like, here, will you straighten out my money for me, for instance, while we're driving.
He was trying to show off.
I wasn't trying to show off. No, I wasn't.
Look at all my money I have.
Maybe a little bit. But, I'd pick her up on my motorcycle, stuff like that. But I enjoyed her company. So I always thought, and I used to be like, dang, she's with this fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? And that was just my thought at the time. Not like weirdo, but he just, you can see. Huh?
He didn't treat me very.
He treated her like shit. So that's what, but I was like, what could I do? And then we would hang out, and I remember telling her very early on, I was like, yo, when I get my life together, and you get your life together, I told her, I was like, I'm gonna come and snatch you up. And it's something, now we joke about, almost 20 years later. Yeah. And then I went to prison for a little while. I went to prison for, like 5 years. And then I came home in 2008. And I was living in Philly at the time, but I was spending a lot of time in the city where she lived at, because I had a house there, and that's where my grandmother lived, my aunt lived out there. My sisters weren't living out there at the time; they were in Philly, also. But I was spending a lot of time there, and that's where I was at that time. I was still selling drugs. So we'd reconnect, hang out, spend time together, and stuff like that. And I started to enjoy her company a little bit more because there was times we were around each other where we weren't getting high, and we'd go out. We went like to a strip club. She took me to a strip club.
I did.
And we had a really good time. I had a really good time. And I remember while we were there, I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I enjoy this, And I never really had, up to that point, I had spent, a lot of time in prison. So I had never really had a girlfriend that I enjoyed spending time with, you know what I mean? And I remember that struck me right away. And I remember while we were at the strip club playing pool, and a guy came up to me and he's like, hey, is that your girlfriend? I was like, no. He's like, do you mind if I say something to her? So I was like, no, it's not my girlfriend. I wanted to see two things though. I was throwing like a test out there, and
Your test.
Huh?
You and your test. You always be testing me.
And she passed. She sort of blew him off, you know what I mean? And inside I got a little jealous. But I, you know what I mean? She's beautiful, so I was like, there's, of course, we're gonna go somewhere and somebody's gonna find her attractive, you know what I mean? But we had a good night, we played pool, I smoked her ass in pool. She's horrible.
Yeah.
She can't even reach the fucking pool table, for real. But we had a good time,
Yeah. That was like the first time that we went out without like getting high, right?
Yeah, that was the first time that we spent time together. It wasn't drug related.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't getting high, I wasn't getting high, we wasn't selling drugs, stuff like that. And we would continue, to do stuff like that. We'd go, away for the weekend or the night, stuff like that. And it was nice because, like I said, I enjoyed her company.
I enjoyed yours too, obviously.
Yeah, she loved my company.
No.
You did.
Then you called me. Remember you called me because you were gonna go turn yourself in.
Oh yeah.
You were like, was that before? That was before.
That was in 2008 or 2009.
Yeah, and you said, I'm going to turn myself in. I just wanted to like reach out and tell you. And I just was like, okay. And I never wrote him.
And I called her one time and she hung up on me. She said she don't remember it.
I don't remember that.
She fucking hung up on me.
But I think it was also too because you, at that time, you had a baby.
Yeah, I had just had my oldest daughter, Maritza. But me and her mother, I couldn't stand her. It was just an ugly situation all the way around the board. That's why I had turned myself in. I was in a halfway house in Philly, and they wouldn't let me be there when she was born. That was my first child, and I refused to miss my first child being born. So I left the halfway house. And when my daughter was born, and then I turned myself in when she was about 3 months old. So I get it, but I remember thinking to myself that I was like, damn, I'm gonna go to jail. She's gonna end up marrying this guy, because they were like on and off, and I said, she's gonna end up marrying this fucking guy, and she did.
No, I didn't. I was never married. But that's just a whole other story. But then when he
2012.
Yeah.
Just to put it in perspective time-wise.
So he, when he came home, and I remember hearing that he was around.
She was checking.
I was not checking. I just remember like somebody saying, "Oh, they saw you out" or something, and I was like, I didn't know that he had came home.
She was like that.
No, I wasn't. But I was happy for him because I knew that he had a daughter. Like, and I was like, all right, like that's good. Like, at least he's home. He can, be out with his child. And then I remember he came in to the pizza shop. No, I saw you. I was driving to the store and I saw you at the Unimart. Do you remember that? I drove past you.
Did you stop?
No, I just kept driving. I waved. And you had Maritza with you. You're putting her in the back seat. Like, I remember seeing you.
I don't know. Vaguely I do. Vaguely I do.
And I just remember seeing him and I was like, oh, that's what's up. He had his kids, so I was like happy for him. But I was like, well, I'm not gonna reach out or anything because I didn't know what his situation was at the time. But then he had came into the pizza shop, started coming in.
They had good pizza.
No,
They had
because
good
actually I found out he does not even eat that kind of food. Like, they literally, since I haven't worked there, he's never ordered food from there.
Yeah, but we moved too. So it's farther. Nah, I was just going in there to see her, to be honest. I was just going in there to see
come
her.
in and I remember the one time he was like, do you why don't we go away for the weekend? And was that? No, we went up. First I met you. First we just hung out and kind of caught up with everything,
Yeah.
remember? And we went up to the shop and hung out. That was right when Joey and Jana were getting married.
Yes. The
Right around
night
that
before.
time. Yeah.
The night before they got married.
So, and then he was coming in, and then we went away for the weekend. And I remember I was clean at the time. And I'm gonna share this. What you did. You know what I'm talking about? What you went and got.
Okay.
Picked up. So when we went away, I remember I felt a little uncomfortable because I was clean at the time and I really wanted, I was doing really well. And he went and picked something up. Not that he was using, but
I was still selling drugs at the time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I picked up a package from New Jersey to drop off in another city,
Yeah.
in Harrisburg, to drop something off in Harrisburg to somebody.
But I just remember I was like, damn, I didn't really, I was kind of disappointed because I was like, damn, I knew that I didn't want to be around that because I was clean at the time. So I remember that was hard for me because I was like, damn, I really was thinking, I was just I was just hoping for something else because I was like, if he keeps doing that, he's gonna go back to jail. But honestly, after that, I don't.
Yeah, it
you,
wasn't.
put it
Yeah.
not that I know of anyhow.
Yeah,
that
well,
it was
At the time, that was just I was just trying to get my life on track. So I went and did a couple of those things like that where it wasn't, where I was picking up something. I was making deals, but it was a different type of thing. You know what I mean? It was, I'll drop something off and I'll make a couple $1,000s real quick.
right.
So it wasn't it was a little different. So,
But anyhow,
Yeah, and see, for me, I didn't see it that way because there was plenty of times where I would sell drugs and not use.
Right.
You know.
And for me, like, I can't even be around it. Like,
Yeah.
For me, I'm just that kind of addict. Like, you put it in front of me, I'm gonna use eventually. Like, you can't leave it in my hands because that's, for me, that's just how I am.
It's just too tempting. See, and I didn't understand that for me, for myself, until she shared that with me. She's like, look, I can't do that, you know, and I didn't know that at the time. I didn't see it that way. For me, I was like, oh, all right, you know, if I don't want to use, I just won't use.
Right, and for me, I don't want to use, I just can't be around it. I won't put myself, you know, in that kind of situation.
Which is very wise.
So, you know, after that, for a little while, like, you know, he, like I said, from what I know, he wasn't doing that. I remember at one time we were together, and I remember it was like, because we were sneaking around, like, for what, nobody really knew that we were together, because when we would be together, we wouldn't be around in our area. We would go out.
We would always go out of town.
And I remember thinking, because like at that point, I had truly left the person that I was with. I left my kid's father, and I was like, damn, like, this is fine for what we've been doing, because, you know, it was what it was. But I said, I remember thinking, if I get with somebody else, or like say somebody else would want to take me out or get to know me, I was like, I'm not gonna bring what we have into that relationship, because that's not fair to start off a brand new relationship
with that baggage.
Right, with somebody else. And I remember we were in the car, and I just told him, I was like, listen, I said, if what we have, if this is all we're ever gonna be, it's just kind of like sneaking around, I was like, that's fine for now, but I said, if I meet somebody else, I'm not gonna bring this into the next relationship. Exactly what I just said, you know, it's not fair. So, honestly,
I said, do what you gotta do then.
You did not.
No, I didn't. She basically was giving me an ultimatum.
Yes.
And say, look, if you want to see where this could go, then let's do it. If not, then, you know, we gotta soon part ways.
Yeah.
And that was 7 years ago.
And he hasn't left my side ever since.
But the plot twist to this is, I'm about to kick her the fuck out this car right on the side of the highway.
So what we should also tell, well, what I guess, because I feel like at the time that we reconnected back in, what, 2012?
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to say, like, obviously, we were not in a committed relationship.
Yeah, no.
You know, we weren't. Obviously, just, and I remember at one time, we saw each other at the playground.
Yeah.
And I remember he was like, I have to tell you something.
Yep. I was there with my daughter and she was there with the girls.
Yeah. And I remember he was like, I'm having another baby. And I was like, wait, what? And he was like, you know, I'm having another child. But, you know, not to...
Yeah, it was to a different woman than mine. It was Frankie, which is my second child.
Yeah.
Maritza's the first, you know, and they have different moms.
Because I remember too thinking, you know, like, you know, too, and then when we did decide to get together, I remember that was, so that was when I remember thinking, like, that's hard for a woman to get with a man, you know, who's having a child.
Expecting a child who has another woman pregnant.
Yeah. You you know, but I did know the situation. Like, I did know, like, oh, you know, he was very honest with me. You know, he was like, you know, yeah, I was with her. We weren't together.
Yeah,
like,
we were never together. Me and Frankie's mom we were never together.
It was what it was. You know, and him and I were not in a committed relationship at that time.
Yeah.
So
we weren't even like a thing. You know what I mean? We were sort of hanging out every now and then. You know.
Yeah, and at that time, I don't even think that we were really. I think you had called me on the phone a couple times.
Yeah.
And, like, we didn't really talk.
Yeah.
Because there was just other stuff going on in our lives.
Yep.
You know, but there was just something that about him that I've known him for a very long time, and I just was like, well, I still wanted to take a chance and be together and try, you know, like, even though, because I remember people being like, oh, he's out, you know, well, my one friend, she was like, he's having a baby to somebody else, and I was like, I know, like, but I also knew, like, I wasn't the reason why they weren't together. You know what I mean? Like, they were never together. So I think, and then shortly after we were together, I found out I was pregnant major. So that's
yeah. And with that, I think that's a good place to stop this first part. And tell me what you guys think. If you guys want to hear more, we'll share more with you guys. We thank you for all the support. Please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe.
Thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening. Feedback is welcome. Any negative comments, keep it to yourself. Positivity only over here, please.
Amen.
And we thank you guys. You know, we definitely thank you guys for the support. Both of us have met so many good people through this channel that my only regret is not doing it sooner. I think it's changed both our lives, you know, through the people we've met, this community that we have.
For the better, like.
Yeah, hands down. So thank you guys. You know, you guys are awesome, to say the least. You guys are awesome. So thank you guys. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and have a blessed day. Thank you.